Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Lounging with Lisa, the video series that has me lounging while coming at you thoughts of the day. It's 7:30 on Wednesday. Lots been going on. I'm just arriving to Ears Acres, but Joan, I think, is sitting on a nest. She was hissing at me when I went to feed her, and I had to maneuver. She might hiss at me now. Watch. Yeah, she's hissing. I went and gave her food and moved it over there. We did see an egg the other week. There's a carpenter bee. All right, here we are, dears. Here's Stanley. And there's he and Haw. And like I said, it's 7:30, and there's been a hell of a lot going on in the last 24 hours. I'm going to pause and pick it up in a minute. Look how beautiful that mule looks, even though he's filthy. Okay, so remember I told you about Aunt Liz was in the hospital and all that? I've got to pause again. I'll get back to the story in a minute, but here's that beautiful guy. And this one's waiting to get in. Okay, pausing. Okay, I threw them a little bit of hay so I could finish the story and hurry up and get my chores done and get home. He's in the barn way in the back, as he always is. There's the sunset over there, kind of. Not really sunset yet. Okay, so I told you about Aunt Liz. Well, Rafe, her nephew, called me, what is today, Wednesday? Yesterday. I went into work. Lacey asked me if I could come in from like 11:30 to close. I went in at 11 and closed. I got home just a little bit after 2. Went out in the sun for a while, and I came in and my phone was ringing, and it was Rafe. And he was pretty shaken up and told me that that I should go down and see Aunt Liz if I'm going to go, or, I need to go. She's in Newcastle because they're going to discontinue dialysis. She has dialysis 3 days a week. I'm trying to think how long that's been going on. It can't be more than 2 years. I'm thinking a year and a half, maybe. Don't just excuse Hawthorne's lovely relaxation. I'll just film Stanley. So they were going to, she's, still in the hospital, very ill. And he said they're going to discontinue the dialysis because it was no longer going to work on her. So, of course, I called Spencer right away. And he took a shower and I got ready, and Andy Historic Jr., a very good friend of the family and of Spencer's, and Katie rode in his truck, and then Spencer drove me and Edna, and we went down to this hospital, and Aunt Liz looked absolutely hideous, very bloated and so forth because of the water retention. I'm trying to do things as I talk to you, I'm sorry. And just, it wasn't a good scene at all. And she was in a lot of discomfort. And so the nurses came in. Evidently her blood pressure had dropped. And they got her on this medication that brings it back up. And Rafe told me that's basically what's keeping her going, is that medication. So she was coherent, though. She knew who I was. We visited. I mean, as much as you can. You don't want to wear the person out either. But from the second we got there, it's like nurses were kind of swarming around her doing things and blah, blah, blah. And so we went to one of the desks, and Spencer talked to the people there. And hang on a minute, I'll just remember where I was. Spencer talked to the people, hang on. And basically got the story. They went through her chart and everything, because he's down as an emergency secondary contact. And blah, blah. So anyhow, they basically said that she does want to try dialysis again. And we can understand that people have the will to live, but we just weren't sure, would they do that or what? And one thing led to another, and I'm trying to make this a little bit shorter, which is kind of impossible. Spencer decided, he and Katie decided they wanted to stay down there overnight. And then on their way home, Aunt Liz called Spencer and said they got her a private room, because what the deal was, they put you in a private room, then they get hospice involved, and that was the game plan. They were hours away from calling hospice in, basically. So we got back home, and then Spencer and Katie went back in Mabel, and Spencer stayed the night in the room with her, which was a private room at this time, and Katie stayed in Mabel in the parking lot. The kids have slept all over the country like this. They, not necessarily in somebody's hospital room, but in their vehicle. They've been to every state, and that's just how they do it. So it's how they camp. It's no big deal. They're used to it. It's very comfortable to them, doesn't matter. So this morning, Spencer got with me and said, that they took her into dialysis. And we just didn't know what to think, really. But hours later, he called me back, and evidently the dialysis worked. Yes, it totally worked. And evidently the nurse was kind of floored in a way. There weren't as many toxins as they would have expected there to be in the fluids that they removed. And so it looked pretty good. So I gave her some time and I called her, and she sounded good. And then I called her tonight, like an hour ago, to let her know Joel and I would be down tomorrow, but we would call first. She sounded really good this time. And she said, well, it's a good thing we'll call because they might send her home tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, do you understand me? We were at death's door, and now she might get home tomorrow. It's just, I'm still floored. I just found this out about an hour before I came down here to tend to these animals. So I'm still just, I keep saying floored. I guess that's the only way to describe it. So I guess we'll wait and see what happens. She normally, like I said, has dialysis on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I thought, if anything, they'd try dialysis again on Friday, and then if it's going well, consider another course of action. But I never, first of all, I never expected Aunt Liz to, I did not expect to get a call from Rafe saying that Aunt Liz was at death's door. I thought, yes, she's going to recover, but it's going to be a long recovery because the woman has had pneumonia and other ailments on top of her regular issues. And, you know, if you've ever had pneumonia, it is a difficult one to get over, especially if you have any age on you, so to speak. So I just didn't expect any of this. And then one minute they're getting ready to get hospice involved, and the next minute she's possibly coming home tomorrow. So I just thought I'd keep you posted or tell you what's going on there. And thanks for the good vibes and all that. And I think that's really it. That's kind of been the main focus of our lives here in the last 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever it is, probably 24. So that's all. I'm going to sign off and be floored a little bit more. I'm sure I'm totally floored. Okay, over and out. Lounging with Lisa.